So Monday and BTC is floating around 83K. We've got a massive week ahead, as if every week isn't massive, with Uncle Donald Trump floating around. And we've got FOMC coming on Wednesday. So lots happening here, and the market a little bit choppy now at the moment. So we're going to give you a couple of setups. I've got shorts for you. I've got longs for you on these alts. We've got a banger day. I've got chaos in the house talking indicators. Let's get right into this. And remember, guys, as always, hit that like, hit the bell, and hit the subscribe. Here is Chaos. He's waiting in the wings. I think he's got 2 longs, maybe 1 short. Stuff's going down. He's looking quite serious. Let's see what he's going to bring us. We got James in the house, obviously, getting ready for some action as well. I've got some tweets that are not really market related, but I know James is going to love to talk about them with us in a couple of minutes. And I see John says the clam clapper is in the house. Welcome to the clam clapper, sir. The alchemist, and good to have John here. And he was on our Zoom session last night. We had a good chat with John. Now look at this cake swap. Is it time to look for shorts? So I brought Chaos with me to look for shorts. I tentatively opened a short on this cake after a 40% pump. I'm going to give you that chart. I'm going to explain my thought process behind it. But maybe it is time for a small little pullback on that cake. If not, we're going to get absolutely rinsed. So we are going to talk about that. Then everything is a little bit green, but I'm not feeling super bullish here at the moment because things have actually been relatively choppy here for us. And I see the names are now coming through for Chaos again, and they absolutely hope no, the guys are abusing him already. Okay, let's get into BTC and see what is going on. So if you saw my tile today, I showed you something quite interesting. I borrowed that from Cole the Moon. Actually, he had a beautiful triangle setup there on BTC, and basically he was looking at the 4-hour chart, and he was talking about a massive move coming. And it's interesting because we are getting to a point where we are going to squeeze into the tip of this triangle, and it's leading into the FOMC on Wednesday. Now, I wonder if we're going to get the pop before that, because the FOMC is a couple of days away. You can see Wednesday is floating around about this region over here. So are we going to get a little bit more chop before we get some kind of explosion, either to the up or to the downside? So that is what I'm speculating at the moment. So very interesting formation here on the BTC 2-hour charts. But in terms of our horizontals, which are obviously the most important levels for us to watch, in terms of these horizontals, there's a couple of key zones to the upside and to the downside that I'm paying a lot of attention to. So obviously our first one is our upside move. You can see we've got a typical wick sitting here at 84,600. Makes perfect sense if they want to just push it up, fill this wick, and then send it to the downside. So that is danger zone number 1. So any pushes, 84,600, we got a little bit of danger there. Then I've got 2 very important mentions here. We've got the whale rinse zone. So those of you that watched the show yesterday would have noted that we had a whale who's now added to his short, I believe, and it's now about $400 million. And Angelique's saying a $400 million short here, and he's adding aggressively to this. Does Uncle Donald have something in store for us? Is he gonna tweet something and send us a little bit lower? So 86,600 is roughly the liquidation area on that. Actually, we need to confirm that because he's added to that position now. So hopefully James is just going to confirm where that liquidation is. But in terms of this region, 86,600, we've got our CME gap as well that is not closed yet. We've got the whale rinse zone, we've got the 618, we've got the horizontal. So we know this 86 is a massive area for us. So if there is a bit of momentum, look for that rejection in that area as well. That is a no FOMO zone. That is a danger zone there for us as well. And then higher up, we've got 89,200. Look out for a wick into our VWAP at 90,200. So those are the 3 big ones for me to the upside. These are your typical reaction zones. So if you're sitting in areas and we pump into those zones, caution there. That is where we're looking for potential shorts. And then downside moves, 81,900, guys, clear as day here. Look at that. It's our 382. It's our trend. It's our horizontals coming into play. And then we've got 79,800. Okay, so 79,800. We got our VWAP 618 horizontals. That's an absolute banger there for us. Now, I'm not expecting too much, higher or lower than the levels I've just given you leading into Wednesday. I would say the action is going to be saved for Wednesday. So we might have a slightly boring or choppy Monday, Tuesday, but we're going to have to see how these things start playing out on Wednesday. So watching these areas closely, not expecting fireworks beyond these levels. Obviously, we never say never in crypto. Anything can obviously happen, but typically, leading into these types of events, things are relatively quiet. And obviously, the strategy is, as always, if we're getting a dump into the event on Wednesday, we're going to be looking for buys. If we're getting a pump into the event on Wednesday, we are going to be looking for sells. We keep it super simple there, and that is the game we're going to play. And Cosmo says, prepare for another Trump dump. Guys, I just prepared for chop all day long. I mean, it's quite frustrating. And you can see the market is feeling a little bit scared still. We're at 32 on our fear and greed index. So the people aren't that happy. Okay, we're not happy. We're not feeling relaxed. We're not feeling euphoric. We're not sending P&Ls to our wives and our girlfriends. And, things are a little bit calm out there. What is Macmillan telling us there? What was he talking about my beard there? And Nine Breaker says, where's Macmillan there? He says, where's the beard oil? It's coming, bro. It's coming hard for you. I don't know if it's going to be the best lube, though, bro. You might have to try something else. But here's the current state of the crypto market. I actually want to play this one again. This is such a banger. This is us trying to predict the market right now. I swear some days it's literally feeling like this at the moment with this amount of chop that we got. But maybe Chaos's indicators are going to give us a little bit more direction today. What do you think?
We'll find out in a minute. Chopping is a good summary, I'm afraid, still.
And how do you feel when someone looks at you like that because he doesn't use stops and keeps his positions open?
I don't get looked at like that at all. I get looked at like I'm an idiot.
I told my wife I don't use stops, and she was like, "What a loser!" So she definitely doesn't look at me like that.
Yeah,
guys, it's all fun and games to not use a stop until it's not fun and games anymore. Until you open your phone at 3 a.m. and you've been absolutely rinsed. Okay, so it's not cool. Okay, even if you think the ladies think it's cool, I'm telling you now, it's not cool. And you know what's also not cool? Michael Saylor, he's literally scraping the barrel now. You know when you in your car trying to find change to pay for parking on the way out and you're scraping under the seat, you're looking down the side, you know that crack where the handbrake is? That's what he's doing now. He's only bought $10 million. What are these rookie numbers that he's giving us? I'm offended.
Part-timer.
Has he run out of money to buy? I mean, I don't know. It's offending me. Okay, $10 million. What is this? And then I know James was going to love this because this is not really a market mover. This is just right up James's alley. And I think he actually gave me this tweet in our research group earlier today. So President Trump declares Biden's last-minute pardons before leaving office they void due to the alleged use of auto pen. Okay, Joe Biden did not sign them, but more importantly, he did not know anything about them. So those of you that were paying attention to this, he pardoned his family members. He pardoned Dr. Fauci, the COVID man. I don't know Mark Milley and the J6 committee, but I know his son was one of the big ones that got a pardon. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if Donald can reverse this or not. And guys, this is not a political show. It's just great entertainment. All the drama, they're hitting each other with handbags. Anyway, so that is going on on the world of American politics at the moment. But what else is interesting for us? Polling market predicting 99% chance that the Fed will not make any rate cut changes on March the 20th. And what are we, 17, 18? Oh, so FOMC's Thursday, guys. Is that correct? Thursday, not Wednesday. James, Thursday.
I'll check. I thought it was Wednesday too, but let me check.
Okay. We'll confirm. Okay, we'll confirm. Okay, we're going to bring the boys back now. Okay, so we've got FOMC, massive week ahead. I think 99% confirmed. Okay, no rate changes, but what are we looking for? We're looking for dovish statements, and we're looking for surprises. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. But it's going to be a very interesting week for us nonetheless. Now, TrendSpider, we used a tweet from them last night as well, and this is another one that we've got from them. This pullback has mirrored the August 24 yen carry trade very closely. Now, even the daily RSI is turning up at the same spot. So we noticed that we were going to get a reversal on that S&P, and now it is obviously starting to play out a little bit for us at the moment. So S&P FOMC is on Wednesday. Okay, cool. Thank you. S&P now pushing into resistance, but you can see we've got our reversal that we were looking for. We were looking for a short-term move in the market. That's the 3-day, but our daily was actually giving us a nice little bullish divergence there at one point as well. And things were looking a little bit better and telling us that we were going to get a relief rally in the market. So we're just going to wait for this thing to load. But while we're waiting, basically, what am I expecting now here? Here's our bullish reversal there, and S&P looking a little bit healthier. So that is obviously good for sentiment all around. But, this thing is still pretty bearish for me. Okay, we've had a straight line down. It makes perfect sense if we do get some kind of dead cat bounce. And there's a couple of important levels that you are going to pay attention to. So number one, you can see we are at resistance right now, 5,650. Our next zone, 5,740. And then our big one, 50-day MA, 100-day MA, floating at 5,900. So I am pretty bearish until these levels start getting taken out. So don't want to get too excited about things. This, for me, at the moment, is just a dead cat bounce. We're going to print a lower high, and then we are potentially going to push a little bit lower down. And Cosmo says we may get sub 200 Tesla soon. Well, guys, look, interesting. I am paying a lot more attention to stocks for you guys. I've opened a new channel today in Chart Hackers under my channel. That is a stock focused channel. Okay, so we're going to start looking at, maybe the top 10 stocks out there. We're going to start tracking them. And I've got the first one for you guys today that I've got my eyes on at the moment. And that is Apple that I'm paying attention to at the moment. So this chart is sitting in Chart Hackers. I'll be updating these pretty much every week. And we'll start tracking. We're looking for swing trades and things like that. So I'm not going to be looking for short-term scalp plays on these things. We're looking for nice size moves. And in terms of Apple, well, this is the first one I'm bringing you guys today, is a nice level here, round about 200. This is a big monthly zone for me, and monthly support level. You can see this was monthly resistance previously. This is currently the weekly chart we're looking at, but this is a monthly resistance zone, and that is going to be a monthly support band. So I'm looking for a dip for Apple into this region, and then some kind of short-term pump out of that zone. So we'll probably get about a 10 or 15% out of this one, and looking for 200 to about 195. That sort of makes the most sense for me at the moment on Apple. So just being a little bit patient with that. And remember, all these stocks, you can now join me and trade these stocks with me on BTCC. You can see this is the Apple chart in front of me, and all you need to do is send crypto to BTCC. You can send USDT or whatever, and then you can trade these tokenized stocks. So Apple, Tesla, I've got Microsoft, we've got lots going on here as well. And we've also just launched our it's officially launching this week, but it's our New York open and closing session open session that Jay is going to be trading for us twice a week for all you degens out there. So at the moment, he is trading the Asia session, and he's going to now bring some flavor to the New York open for you guys. And we're going to be using BTCC for that as well. So all you need to do is go into the show description and sign up to BTCC, and you'll find the link here under the show. So just click on more, and all these links that I talk about today that you're going to come across are sitting under the show description for you guys. I see Trader J. Yeah, John says Trader J kills it. And let's see. And Mia says she's joining on those trades with Dylan at Hackers. Look, I hope so. I've opened the channel here for you guys. This is Hackers. I see you guys are posting memes here, but here's my channel on the left, and I've just opened my Stonks channel. You can see here's our Apple chart, and I'm going to start populating this for you guys. So we're going to have lots of action along the way for you guys. So let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into BTC and some of these altcoins. So I painted quite a filthy picture. Really filthy last night, and I actually dropped it in Hackers today as well. And correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the chats if I'm way off here. But I'm going to show you something on the weekly chart. Now, this is obviously worst case scenario, okay? And Chaos, I don't know. You're going to have to tell me if you think this is crazy shit at the moment. But what we can see is BTC is in a clear downtrend at the moment. So what does this tell us? It tells us things are, potentially pretty bearish. So if we do get a pump to the upside, potential rejection over there, and we may see something like this, where we get a bounce off this 51K, okay? And then we start saying, what if we get this push up and we form this right shoulder here, and things get a little bit more filthy? Okay, so this pattern playing out is going to take us to 30K, give or take. Now, I know that's, you're not happy with that, eh?
No.
No.
No. Nope.
Okay, this is way too much speculation though. Okay, so we're gonna start step by step, guys. Okay, so instead of everybody absolutely shitting themselves at the moment, let's get BTC to 90K first. Okay, we'll deal with it. Let's get it up here. Okay, let's get it into the zone up here. You'll see if we can push BTC into 90K, somewhere in that region, could be quite fun for us. Then we'll decide after that how it's gonna play out. But that right now, that's a sorry, Rave, bro. That is my current viewpoint, and you can see I've highlighted 32K down here. It's really nice though. Look at this nice juicy support zone. I'm sure we're going to get a couple of longs off that area, and then it's going to be pretty bearish if we dip into that zone because okay, never mind, I'm just fucking with you guys. Okay, so right now all you need to watch is 73 to 69K, and we're watching 90K to 92K to the upside. Okay, Hassan, chill, bro. I'm just playing. Okay, Yumi, we're not.
Where's the I'm a bear t-shirt? I don't see it. That's not the appropriate one for today.
Guys, I'm just having a laugh. I know you guys are freaking out. Okay, I'm just fucking with you. Let's go. I don't actually think we're going to. Okay, let's go. Okay, BTC. Let's see. We might get a breakout here. Chaos was talking about injective and a couple of things. So if we see a breakout during the course of the show, we might have to take a little degen long here. Okay, so we'll keep watching this. You can see BTC is still undecided. It's been chopping all day, but we'll see how we go. In terms of liquidity, this is the 7-day that I'm watching, the 1 week liquidation heat map I got my eyes on. You can see the market is super undecided. There's a full mix here of shorts and longs at the moment. So, you know, everybody's forgiven for trying to figure out where or what direction we are going to next. There's no clear direction in terms of where the liquidity is at the moment. You can see to the downside, anything from 82 down to 78 is easy pickings for the market makers, and to the upside, very much the same. 85K up to about this 87K also makes a lot of sense. If they send it up there, that's also perfectly fine. So that is why we're watching these chop around levels at the moment, and we get excited when we reclaim and we get some support above those areas. Now, Virtual Bacon, and I haven't had this guy on my show in a very long time, and I think it's due. I think I need to slide into his DMs again, but he was quite fun. And he was the first guy. We actually traded each other's cocks together. Oh, no, we traded cock together. It was the meme coin on AVAX. That's what we did together. And he says everyone is waiting for altcoin ETFs. But here's the truth. Filings don't mean approvals. Correct. Approvals don't mean inflows. Fuck, that is totally correct. Because if you get it, the ETF, nice. But now somebody's got to come and buy the stuff. Okay, they need conviction to come and buy it. And inflows don't mean price action. So very good point here. TIGC threw up on the soil. These apologies, bro. ETH ETF was approved and had zero inflows for months. Remember how disappointed we were with the ETH inflow. And we're going to talk about that absolute shitcoin in a couple of minutes. So he says, don't get trapped by hype. And is this max bearish? Is this peak bear when these types of things are happening now? So also just time for a little bit of awareness as to how bearish the market is feeling, because those are often the times when things get the most exciting. So in terms of Bitcoin dominance, if anybody's wondering why your alts are surviving at the moment, you can see this dominance is just bleeding down a little bit. Tony, what's going on here, bro? Tony looks crazy there, bro. I'm a little bit scared. So BTC dominance bleeding down on the red. You can see that is why these alts are busy surviving at the moment. So what I want to just say, just a word of caution here to anybody, if we do manage to get these alts down into the 61%, that is most likely your danger zone there on these alts. That is most likely an area where you might just say to yourself, okay, TP time, let's take something off the table here, because that's quite a strong bounce zone. Now, remember, if Bitcoin bounces off that area and Bitcoin is pumping and dominance bounces off that area, that's not the worst case scenario. But your problem lies if there's a rejection on Bitcoin and Bitcoin starts falling over and this dominance bounces here. So that is why, you know, we treat these areas carefully, and this is why these will become TP zones for us on some of these altcoins. Now, in terms of the altcoins on the weekly, again, nothing serious to report here. Total 3 is bearish. It's under the 200-day MA. You can see we're in a clear downtrend, just like BTC, and we're holding this uptrend at the moment. So, look, it's not ideal. Degen support, 760 billion. If we start losing this trend, guys, well, we got a problem, okay? If we start losing that trend, it's going to turn a little bit filthy. So right now, let's hold 660 billion. If we can hold that type of level there on this total 3, maybe a sell-off into FOMC, then maybe some dovish talk, then maybe we get a nice little rip out of these altcoins. So 760 for me is the first line in the sand that I am paying attention to. And then ETH BTC, honorary mention. We spoke about this last night. This is literally in the bounce now or cut it off zone. It's got to bounce here. This is a major monthly level. Look at this. I've got the monthly chart. This is major levels here for us on ETH, and we've had one monthly bounce in this region. Are they going to give us one more bounce here and just give us some relief on these altcoins? So if it's going to happen, this is the zone. It's the 0.225. It's got to bounce here. It's flat out got to bounce here, or ETH is going to get rinsed. So the next one is 0.02 that we are watching. So with that in mind, I'm obviously still holding this absolute shitcoin over here, and you can see this is my current view on ETH, and this is how I feel every time I open my ETH position. I feel like this piece of grass here at the bottom left, and it's just absolute filth at the moment. So we're seeing a wallet has been dormant for 3 years, sold all their ETH worth 1.9 million, earning 100K profit. And the wallet had purchased ETH at an average price of 1.7 and at one point had unrealized profit of 2.3 million. Okay, so that guy's finally said, we're done. Okay, he's done. His wife probably told him, why did you hold ETH for so long? That's the dumbest move ever. And he keeps saying, I'm an ETH bro and it's going to 10K. And now he's sold. Okay, so ETH most likely bounces now and rips to probably 3 or 4K from here. And then if you're wondering what could have caused some of the sell pressure, don't forget there was a massive hack not too long ago that we reported on, and North Korea's Lazarus group has now converted the stolen ETH to BTC. So they've obviously been getting rid of all their ETH. That obviously added to the sell pressure there on the market, and that is now done. So there's $1 billion that's not going to get sold now. Is that going to help some of the price action? And I don't know if anything can help the ETH price action at the moment when people are doing that type of thing. I mean, yeah. So in terms of what I want to see, again, my exit play on my ETH position is going to be 2,099. Here's the trade. We're sitting in WEX at the moment. It's $47,000 in size, and it's been absolute torture at the moment. So I've got a sell order at 2,099. That should hopefully get me pretty much to break even on that one. So if we do get that pump back, looking for that exit, and then we'll say thanks very much. We can always look for another one another time there on ETH, but that is essentially my game plan. So danger zone 2,100, danger zone 2,400 for me on ETH. Not looking for much more. Then I do think we are buying ETH 1.516 at some point. Okay, so let it come to you. Chaos, do you concur, or do you even watch this shitcoin? You don't watch ETH.
I do happen to like ETH. It's one of our spot buyers in the 20% club in Chart Hackers. We're kind of there or thereabouts, just a little bit below break even.
What's your target?
Listen, I'd like to see at least 2,100 again, at least, before we start to cascade up those imbalances. But for now, I'm working on 21 to 2150 would be awesome, but we need to reverse now. Like,
it's got it now. It's bounced now, cut it off. It literally, and Stickin' Tim here says it will bounce now probably. Look, yeah, I mean, the guys sold his position, and what happens to, you know, what happens to leverage traders? You sell your position, then it pumps. You hold your position, then it dumps. I mean, that's pretty much the game. And Matt says triple tops never hold. Okay, so guys, there's your ETH scenario. Let's talk Sol. So CME Group, the world's largest futures exchange, to launch Sol futures today. How's Sol looking? Shit. It's still looking pretty bearish at the moment. So quite interestingly, I pulled out some of my chart prime indicators here, and we had a sell back in the day. When was this? January 22. And if we take the bottom of that candle where it printed that sell to the lows, we had a 88% drop there, and then you can see we've had a sell print on this one as well. And if you take an 88% drop, it takes us to $21 down there at the bottom. So that's quite filthy. But in terms of current levels for Sol, 110, guys, is what we're going to be watching. That's our big one, and that's our massive weekly level. So I still am expecting a little bit higher, but how high is the question? Well, here's the answer. Okay, we're going to keep this super simple here. Now, here's the Sol. I broke this down for you guys last night on the show, and because the things have been so choppy, nothing's actually changed. So in terms of support, it's the same support from last night. We've got our 125 zone here. So you can see this band, this region here. No changes for Sol. What are we looking at? Well, upside danger zones for me. Head and shoulders could come into play right here. okay, at 131. So if we reject there, we're probably then heading down to this 110 level at least, and potentially 79, 80, those types of levels. Or alternatively, if we rip right through here, we've got a big danger zone here, 137 to 140, extreme caution in that area, and 150, extreme caution in that area. So if this is the game plan on SOL that we're looking at over there, you most likely get that rejection in one of these zones, and one of these areas can send us down. Am I being way too bearish here? Am I being filthy bearish? Have I lost all hope?
You're covering everything. That's what you're doing.
Okay, so look, possible short-term bounce now on SOL to 131. You don't have SOL today, hey? What do you have today?
I've got AVAX and Lido and Sonic, but I've actually got SOL open right now. I don't know if you want to bring the screen up.
Well, okay, show me something on SOL, and then my next chart is Sonic again. I'm keen to hear your thoughts on some Sonic as well. So let's see. Let me stop mine. There we go. Okay, let's add yours. There it is.
Okay, so let me just get rid of some of that stuff. So obviously, before we go any further, I've drawn a horizontal, which we've wicked into. I mean, we started off wicking into here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really solid wicks. This is a proper support zone, okay? And it sort of starts around the 118 mark. So looking at the current price action, obviously the indicators have done great with pulling out buys and sells. At this point, apart from the block that we're in now, this order block, let me just make it a bit bigger. There you go. So we've obviously got some liquidity here right down to like 120. But the thing is, right, all of the liquidity, you know, it's above. There's so many order blocks that we can tap into. So, you know, how much lower can we go? Well, there's not very much there. So initially, my initial thoughts are this really should hold, and we should start to gain some levels. That's what I'm essentially looking at now. Looking at the cash flow, we've obviously been quite negative here. Let me just bring this up for you now. We've been quite negative whilst it's been red. It came down, it's come back up. We've actually just flipped green. Last time we flipped green, we pushed up there, we stayed green. And that did actually equate to somewhere in the region of, from this candle here, something like a 30 to 40% move up. So the fact that we've just flipped green now, you know, there are two sides to every story. We're going to have to see what plays out.
Okay, so maybe overly bearish out there. I think the general feeling, if you track everything, because slowly but surely these money flow situations are changing. We've got the RSIs printing bullish and a couple of things happening. Yumi, I'm not a bear. Come on, Yumi. So yeah, so a couple of things are looking a little bit up here. Now, I want to get into a trade, and I either want to go long now on AVAX or Sonic. Let me show you Sonic quickly, short term, and can you get your Sonic out? I'm keen to see. I think it's worth a little scalp here. So again, nothing's changed on SOL, and nothing's really changed on Sonic yesterday, other than my hot zone indicator lighting up again for us here at the moment. So hot zone is firing. You can see I've got my point of control here, and it's also showing me the flame. It's given me the reversal print as well on this 382. So Sonic or AVAX, pretty much. I think I want to long quickly. Let's just take a look at the size of the move here. Your risk, okay, it's 5%, so it's quite big here. In terms of degen risk, it's going to be about 5%. Let's see what Chaos has to say here.
Sure. Hold on, just loading up. My computer's being slow. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah. Okay,
it's just
wonderful voice.
Forever to load. Okay, so Sonic. So obviously we've been in a descending channel for some time, which we've respected. You know, we've touched both top and bottom multiple times. We broke through. We've pushed up out. The candles are obviously a nice green color right now. We've come back to test. Whilst we've come back to test, obviously our RSIs have come down. Now we've spent a great deal of time in the red, and we've pushed up. Okay, so what I'm actually hoping for, I'm not sure yet whether it will happen. We'll have to wait and see what happens with the oscillator. But I'd like to see potentially a push up to start to claim some of these order blocks. Just the first order block on its own is a 15% move. And if we can actually start to, you know, reclaim some of these levels and start making some highs, then potentially will be in a bit of an uptrend. So we just need to see what happens with the RSI, whether we get a turn here, whether this cash flow, which has been red for so long, does in fact come positive. So we just need a few more candles to print.
Okay,
but yeah,
so
I'm hopeful.
Okay, I'm starting a small position here, a little bit degen, guys. Okay, so the risk is 5%. Okay, a little degen scalp play here on Sonic. I think it's worth having a quick look at this thing. So just going to track a small little cluster here. Let me just show you this thing again.
We have got bullish divergence, by the way, on the 1 hour. Looks good. Looks good.
Yeah, so look, we also had that last night. So the market was super choppy. I mean, you can see if you've been sitting in this thing, it's hell of a frustrating. You got shorts up there, you got longs up there. It's an absolute mess at the moment. So I've started a small position now on Sonic. Let's see if this is going to turn into something. The exit plan, look, your safest exit plan is going to be a candle close under these lows. Okay, so candle close under 0.48. Is going to be your safest play. So make sure you manage your risk accordingly. That's 4.6% risk at the moment. And what are we targeting? Well, we're going to target 555. We're going to target that zone over there. And we're going to target 62 as the potential upside moves here. Now, it's a little bit degen, guys. Okay, what Chaos has shown you is a more relaxed view. Okay, that's going to be a spot trade or a very low leverage type trade that he's looking at the moment. I'm looking at a short-term leverage pop here on Sonic after this chop. So we're taking on risk. Obviously, understand your risk. And I've started it here on Bank. You can see this is the 15-minute chart that I'm watching here. Okay, so we've got a bit of chop here in this area. Would be interesting to see if we blow through that zone. I'm going to start adding to that position. So if we break through the 51, 52 zone, I'm going to start increasing the size quite quickly on the Sonic, and then I'm going to start raising my stop. If we fall over, my exit plan is under that 48 region. Okay, so taking on risk, always understand where your stop loss is and make sure that you are using a stop loss. Don't be like this. Okay, don't be like this. Okay. It's not cool. Well, it's cool until you get rinsed.
They don't look at you like that. Come on, guys.
So, guys, if you want to learn a couple of things, and number one, obviously, this hot zone indicator is going to go to the guys that complete the accelerator course. Okay, so this hot zone indicator is alive and kicking. It's a combination of multiple things here. And if you do complete the accelerator course, it's going to be a little extra something there for you guys. So this accelerator course is going to teach you all the basic TA that I do, and it's going to show you a lot of the secrets that are sitting in that hot zone indicator, and it ties in a lot to all the oscillators and the quantum reactors or all these other things that you see. So if you want to take on the course, I strongly suggest you do it in these bearish conditions. Just go under the show. You can see there's a link for it right there, Dylan's Accelerator School, and you're going to learn how to do basic TA in literally 10 days. Okay, you're going to understand exactly what is going on, and you're going to get a little bit of a hot zone indicator. Okay, you can see we've made some advancements here as well. We've got our volume profile coming in hot for us on that hot zone indicator. So let's get into a couple more things. And Yumi says she loves a bit of spot. So just tell everybody, you trading 20% spot moves in Chart Hackers?
Yumi's one of our legends, and I'll tell you why. So basically, long and short of it, in about 20 seconds, we have 2 trades running. We're looking to kind of take between 10 and 20% when buying low and selling high. And then we're looking to compound, rinse and repeat. And that's basically the whole thing. But one of the reasons why I like seeing Yumi in the chat is because she mentioned AVAX the other day, which I've got for you today as well. Sure enough, that was a great trade. We took it as unofficial part of the 20% club. But the idea is, guys, we're going to take these trades. We're going to grow together. There's no liquidation danger. You're not going to get hunted. We choose big tokens like, I want to say Ethereum. I'm not sure I want to keep saying, what's that?
And dot.
Yeah, and link. And yeah, it's basically buy low, sell high, guys. Rinse.
There you go. So I want to see this AVAX quite soon because I see AVAX is also on a bull zone. So I just want to cover peppy for you guys as well. Just want to take you through the situation. So before we jump into AVAX, there's one more potential short play for us that you might want to be paying attention to. So peppy was a short over there. It was a short over there. It was a short over there. There's been multiple shorts on peppy now. Obviously on the 4-hour time frame, it's looking a little bit more bullish this time round. Okay, so what we want to see is this thing start reversing quite quickly and the price just printing a new high, and that'll give us some kind of divergence. So if we're going to catch a fresh peppy short, what you need to look at is a pump a little bit higher than this high. What I would say is look for a move into 753. You can see I've got a quantum reactor and I've got a 618 sitting in that region. If we push into that zone and we reject there, that should give us an opportunity to print some kind of bearish divergence on the 4-hour oscillator, and that should tee us up for quite a nice move to the downside. So look, lower time frame, you can see this thing is getting a bit hot. Let's just look at these lower time frames. You can see we are pushing into that exhaustion area. Let's look at the 1 hour. Okay, 1 hour, we're printing reversal. So you can see we're getting to the hot side here on the 1 hour, but that 4 hour still wants to go a bit. So in terms of fresh peppy trades, now if you're still sitting in the one from yesterday, no changes to that. But in terms of fresh trades, look for that pop into the quantum reactor 753. You want to pick up this divergence. You want that lower high on that oscillator, and that should build some kind of nice negative push down for peppy. That would be the ideal situation. Now there is obviously there's a flip side to this, is a potential long that could play out for peppy. And how would that look for me? So if you're jumping into a long now, you can see very simply you are at a danger zone. So it wouldn't be the smartest play to try and long into quite a big resistance area. But what you could do, for example, is let this play out, let this thing pop through, let it reject at this type of region. Then what you can do is let it pull back for you, and you want to pick up your 382 fib from these lows. Okay, from these lows here. You're going to pull a 382. You're going to pull your fib to the high wherever it rejects, and you're going to look for that 382 pull back onto that zone, and that is where you can take on risk as a bull. Okay, so look out for that play. That's your bullish setup. And the bearish setup is obviously to look for that rejection at 7.5. And that should or could be the start of a downside move. Okay, so there's two plays there on peppy. Now remember, these charts, they go straight into Chart Hackers directly after the show for you guys as well. Okay, Chaos, talk to me about AVAX. Do I need itchy trigger finger here? What are we doing here?
Yeah, bring me up, man. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, I really like this. I have already entered AVAX earlier. This is actually zoomed out on the daily. Now, I'm aware if we zoom in, things change, you know, but what I'm trying to do at the minute, because this market is so damn hard, is just find some more chilled trading, okay? So listen, the previous sell played out absolutely beautifully. We've entered this zone where we've been right the way back further than the price action is currently showing. We've wicked in here, we've come out of here again. We've actually pinged this area once again. So at this point, we've had a huge run of red candles. We've had a big red sort of cash flow run. We've had the RSI, which has been really quite low. Now what we've got is we're in the zone, okay? We're starting possibly to start making potentially a series of higher lows and then start to regain some levels. It may not look like much, but just to take from where we are now to this order block, it's a 30% move. And it wouldn't be the greatest stretch in the world of imagination to punch through here and to start to reclaim these imbalance candles. There's some fair value gaps there. And if you start doing that and you start reaching up where the quantum reactor is and where there's other resistance, I mean, the next order block, it's 100% move away. So don't discount the daily for a much more chilled entry. You find your entry, maybe on a spot buy or a much lower leverage, because as Dylan says, your risk is just to there. It's 15%, guys. It's massive. You wouldn't want to leverage this thing highly.
Okay.
So
this is a spot sleep easy situation. Yeah. Okay. So look, DGen guys will obviously, I'm going to show you a DGen chart on AVAX. And if you want to take on that type of risk, you obviously can. But in terms of what Chaos is giving you, he's giving you a big move. He's giving you a sleep well at night situation, I guess, and a lot less stressful. Obviously, it's, you know, it could be a little bit less exciting, but it's a lot less risk involved in those types of setup. So what you're hearing though is overall bullish on the market, because if you bullish like this on AVAX, you're most likely going to see that everyone's going to move together. So that's basically telling us that we could be short-term bullish on the market and looking for a move higher on some of these tokens. So that's pretty interesting. Let's get out AVAX now quickly on my side and just talk through a couple of things here from a degen perspective, and just to sort the absolute degens out. And John says his marriage depends on AVAX going back to 40. Jeez, John, that's pressure, bro. That is proper pressure. Okay, in terms of AVAX on a degen basis, I've whipped out the 2-hour chart. Now, there's a couple of ways you can play this. So again, you build your zone by dragging your fibs from your lows to the highs. You're looking at your VWAPs. You want to try and understand where your hot zones are, where are your big reaction zones and things like that. And you can see at the moment, AVAX is pretty much undecided on the 2-hour, floating around while we're waiting for some kind of reset here on this oscillator. So yeah, I mean, it's if you're taking this on, okay, your first line of support is 18. Now, I wouldn't say that is where you set your stop, because after a lot of consolidation like this, they tend to come and do a stop hunt. So you're probably going to get a push down and then a whip to the upside. So in terms of stops, you need, when you see this type of chop, and if you don't want to get chopped up, you need to leave a bigger stop loss. So that means you need to look at potentially a much smaller position. Remember, when the market's super choppy, if you're trading high leverage with tight stops, you can totally waste your money. You can be in 5 or 6 trades, get chopped up, and that thing still goes in the direction you thought it was going to go, but it leaves without you. So what I can suggest here is when things are super choppy like that, you just widen up those stops, you lower those position sizes, and if you are looking for longs, don't be surprised if they come for a little wick fill here on one of these levels here. So watching 18 and watching 17.5, those are pretty much your safest bull zones at the moment that I would pay attention to for AVAX. And then in terms of resistance, you can see the quantum reactor is a problem for us to the upside. So your danger zones are 19.3 and your next danger zone is 21. That's so no changes there. John, 19.3 and 21, bro. You got some work to do. If you get through the 21, then maybe we'll start talking 40. But right now, that is how I'm seeing it. So your most degen support, guys, is going to be the 17.5 region. You can see this zone over here. Okay, so watch that. Look out for a fake out to the downside, then a push higher. Obviously, as a degen, you can start tracking millions of levels all the way down. But in terms of how I'm seeing this play out, if it's going to hold, that's pretty much where you want it to be. Okay, so watch those zones. We'll make sure this is in Chart Hackers for you guys in a sec. Now, let's talk a couple of DeFi Llama. They posted today, top 10 crypto protocols by revenue over the past 7 days. Now, what jumped out to me, or what stood out to me, was Hyperliquid there at number 4, Jupiter at number 6, where we've had loads of FUD, and PancakeSwap, which was an absolute stinker today, 40%. Any ideas where that came from?
No clue.
So random, man.
James might know.
James, why's CakeSwap pumping?
It's just because it's been named the #1 DEX. Here's lots of people talking about it. I think just bull posting, and that's about it, but nothing massive.
Okay, well, we're going to talk Cake now because I've shorted it, and I've shorted it on very low leverage with another upside target as well that it might go to before this thing actually falls over. So a risky play, obviously, but it's pumped 40-odd%. And to me, that tells me if I'm taking on a bit of risk here, I might get a 10 or 15% dump out of this thing if we get it right. So interesting to me on Cake, but let's start with Hyperliquid first. And just a note here, this whale that took that 430 million short on BTC, he got rinsed on Melania, okay, and he closed it. So as it turns out, he closed that thing. I don't know if he closed as a loss or whatever. It sounds like he closed it. And then Hyperliquid, he's now long $2 million. So yeah, maybe he knows what's going on. Maybe not. Maybe he's just having a crack at the market. So in terms of who's laughing at me for shorting Cake?
Maybe
who's laughing at me? Bro, we gotta look at these zones. We're gonna play these zones consistently, bro. Okay, and is he talking about short Cake? Okay. Hyperliquid on the daily. Okay, you can see what's going on. If this thing is going to bounce, this is a major horizontal level for you guys. You can see it's printed a nice higher low at the moment, just like Chaos has actually shown you on AVAX. Okay, so this thing is looking a little bit better for us on the 12-hour. Your key support is 12.3, and we might have some more upside coming on the 12-hour. Look at this. Our money flow is actually turning up. We are getting a push here. We've got multiple divergences. So yeah, potentially looking better. I see Chaos likes the look of that as well.
I like the look of that, yeah.
And then in terms of lower time frames, if you want to be a filthy degen on these things, well, there's a couple of ways you can play it. So in terms of the entry that I'm kind of looking for on the 1 hour, I've broken this down. You can see at the moment, the 1 hour is looking a little bit bearish for us. We might be rolling over here. You can see in these examples here, we printed some divergence, but it wasn't major. It kind of just floated around. So I am expecting this time, though, we've printed this reversal. I am expecting a little bit lower here on this hype. And for me, 13.13 is pretty much where I want to see this thing drop before we can maybe look for some long. So you're going to be backed up by 13.13 and 12.8. That is going to be your zone where you're looking for a bounce now on this hyperliquid as a degen play. Okay, as a spot play, you can see there's 12.3, nice big daily. You might easily get a push up to 17. You can get a push up to 20. In terms of a degen play, where do you strike? For me, 13.13, 12.8, somewhere in that zone looks realistic to me. If we lose that trend, guys, remember, if you lose that trend, it tends to turn a little bit more bearish. So you might see a situation where we wick down and then we push up here and then we have that type of problem. Okay, so that would lead into the FOMC maybe on Wednesday and things getting a little bit messy to the downside. So just look out there. But in terms of what I'm looking for, 13.13, 12.8, you most likely getting some kind of long in that type of region there, even if it is a short-term play on this hyperliquid. Then another one I've got is dupe, guys. Now, has the FUD been cured, or are we still fudding dupe, or have they all forgotten about this one, James? Is it still happening?
I've heard nothing about it for a while now. I think that FUD's kind of died down. People are just done fudding it and not interested in it a whole lot.
So it's amazing how Twitter works. Like all of a sudden they just forget about it, and then it's back to business. So here's dupe on the weekly. We bounced in our weekly zone. We did cover this one. This was obviously a big area that we've spoken about before, and we were saying, look, this thing is falling over. It's disgusting, the amount of FUD involved. Remember the guy from the Libra token, there was all this FUD that the Libra guys were linked to the dupe guys and they were insider doing whatever. It was a mess. Okay, so rightly so, this thing started falling over. But in terms of, dupe still working, it's still there. It's still making money or fees and all these types of things. So in terms of where this dupe can go, I think it's pretty simple. The minute this market flips bullish, I think it's an easy ride to 63, like pretty quick and pretty simple. A ride to 63. That will happen with Sol waking up. That will happen with some of the meme coin traders coming back to life again. And all of a sudden, dupe just starts ripping. So look out for this one. I'd say this is a dark horse recovery play. The market's quite fickle and they will forget about the bad news. As long as this thing is making money again and Sol's waking up, they're going to trade this as a beta Sol play. Okay, so it's going to come. And I say there's probably 22% coming on this dupe. So just watch your big support, which is at 45. Watch that area. But in terms of upside, 64 making sense to me if things turn bullish, especially if they line up with your bullish AVAX stuff as well, because if that plays out, then the rest of the market is obviously starting to push as well. Okay, let's see what else is going on here in the chats. Zen's talking about strawberry shortcake. Yumi wants some cake. Guys, come on, let's focus. And John says Lord shortcake. Okay, let's look at cake.
Making me hungry. I've got cake for you as well.
I could eat some cake. 1 DEX in 24-hour volume. Still building. That's all I got for you on cake. Okay, so we opened Banter Bubble. I was like, fuck me. How's this thing absolutely ripping? I don't know. What is the catalyst for this thing to rip like this? So I thought, let's look at it again. So the last time we looked at it, it fell over. It was a big giant sneeze for nothing. And we're basically sitting in a weekly range. Okay, so in theory, this thing goes here at some point. It goes to 5, but you could have a situation where it chops around. You can see we're chopping around here. The market's super undecided. as to what happens. But in terms of the market conditions and what we've seen and, you know, how the market has played over the last few weeks, when you see a pump like that, most of the time, and I'd probably say 90% of the time, when you get a 40% pump out of a token, 90% of the time, it's probably shortable at some point in and around those types of levels. So I jumped onto that one on VX, and I've started a short. You can see here's the cake position, and I've got another sell order at 2.915. So I've started a low leverage position here. I've got another sell order at 2.915. Now, obviously, we're taking on risk here. That is why I've isolated this position. I've done it on a 7x. So I know that if I'm wrong here, I'm only going to lose 7x times whatever margin I've put in. Okay, so just understand, open an isolated position. If things are, you know, if things are high risk like that, you go isolated. You don't want to rinse your account. You want to know exactly how much you can lose if you are wrong. So in this scenario, I put in $700 on 7x for my first position, and then I've got another $500 on 7x for my next sell at 2.91. So that is how I'm playing this one. If I am wrong, that's all I'm losing. Okay, so it's isolated, and remember, on VX and all these exchanges, you can select between cross and isolated. Cross is your entire funds that you have in that account gets used for your trading, or isolated means whatever is in that little isolated chamber for that trade, that is what you are risking. That is only what you are risking. Okay, so that is what I've got going on Cake. Now let's talk about, why is this a potential reversal zone for me? So I'm looking at this on the 4 hour, and normally when you get to the 4 hour and you see these major type of reversals, you need to pay a little bit of attention. And obviously we have no idea what CZ has planned next. Okay, we don't know what his next announcement is. We don't know what is coming here Cake. But also, you know, why is this thing pumped 40 odd %? Is it really justifiable? But when it does do that, it does tend to print quite these big long candles that can easily come and get taken out at the first sniff of weakness on the market. So there's two scenarios here. Firstly, if I was looking at this one now, I would say, look, there's no long here. Okay, as a starting point, no long. If there was going to be a long, I would say there's potentially a high confidence long at 2.2. That makes a lot of sense to me. Then there's a long zone at 1.88. Okay, so those are the big long areas for me Cake. So I wouldn't touch this as a long play. I would say, you know, at best, maybe we get some kind of flag here, and then you get some kind of push to the upside. So, you know, a flag and more bullish moves Cake is obviously still on the table. But in terms of why I like this thing, time and time again, our 618 delivers for us, our horizontals deliver for us, and our order blocks deliver for us, as well as reversals on the oscillator. So that is why I've started a short position Cake. If we do get one more pump Cake, I'm looking for this order block to come into play for me. You can see we've got horizontals here in that region, and I've got an order sitting in that zone. So hopefully, if it does pop, it's going to pick up that order there, and then it's going to reverse to the downside. So that is my strategy at the moment. If it doesn't do that, okay, it's an isolated position. The amount in that trade gets rinsed, and that gets taken out. But if it works, well, then we've built a nice size, and we're going to get a 15 or 20% move to the downside. So that, in summary, is why I'm trying to short this thing. Chaos, anything you want to add here on this Cake scenario?
Definitely. I've got two charts to show you Cake, and just for the record, I'm also in the short as well.
Okay.
I was just checking on it now. It's doing fine. So the reason that I'm in a short is I've just started on the 4 hour, and I'll just degen you guys down to the 15-minute in just a second. So very simply, obviously Dylan's just said we had the big push up, cash flow negative, pushed up massively positive, right into this order block, which is fantastic. The next, if we turn these off for a moment, you can actually see that I drew earlier a horizontal, and just not really by chance, I know roughly where the block should be. The next entry is around that 2.86 to 2.9 region. So I've actually got half my position in here, okay? And what I'm targeting is essentially taking out this large FVG, at the very least down to the 2.2 region, at least in line with this wick. So that's my short, and the RSI lines up absolutely perfectly where it wants to potentially go on a bit of a waterfall cascade. And then down to 15, what we're really doing is we're just trying to work out if this is the turning point. Now, all of the liquidity at this point is below locally, We've actually got divergence, which is now present. We've had a reversal print. We've got the divergence, which is now present. What I'm looking for is this positive cash flow to start to come down. Now we can see the RSI is coming down. You can see the bearish divergence is present. You can see we've got potentially on the 15 a double top. What we're hoping for is that these candles stop being green. We start to get some purple, some indecision, and then the red starts to come in, and then we start to lose these levels. And the other thing that's of note here is that the point of control, we're right on it now. So at this point, it's not entirely implausible that we bounce and go one higher, which would imply that we could push up to 2.9. But I'm exactly in the same position as you. This to me seems like a perfect point to start 50% of your trade, and then have backup to jump in here as well on the short.
Okay, so just a reminder here for the absolute degens. Again, there's multiple ways you can trade these things. Number one, you can trade super tight stops. If the market's choppy, you stand the risk of getting stopped out multiple times. The other way is you can ladder into your positions on super low leverage and build a nice size. And that's obviously quite a relaxing way to set it up, because you've preset your areas, you understand why it might fall over, and that is the strategy turns out we are both following now on this cake short. So a little bit of patience involved, no panic allowed if things start pumping. You're obviously risking what you are comfortable risking. You are not over leveraging, doing all those things. If you're happy with those points, go for it. Follow what we are doing there. Okay. Chaos. The guys want to trade farts. And I think it's important that we trade some farts. So very important one. And Syed, just to correct Syed there, it's called sharting, bro. It's not short the fart, it's shart. Can we please get this right? So yeah, it's very important, bro. So in terms of fart coin, I've been using my hot zone indicator a lot for Fartcoin. And look, the big zone for me, I'm still waiting patiently. And I've highlighted it here for the hackers earlier today, and we're just not getting there at the moment. So the next short zone, or the next fart zone for me, is 0.28, which I'm waiting patiently for. So we're going to have to see. You can see the hot zone indicator has lit up a flame, and that's because we've got VWAP, we've got fib confluence in this area, we got some horizontals as well. So we want to wait for this thing to also light up some kind of reversal print. Now, when it does give us a reversal print, it's going to print some kind of R here, or it's going to give us some kind of extra symbol of confluence in that area. So just going to wait patiently here. What I suggest, guys, set your alarms in these zones. 0.283. I'm setting my alarm, so that should ping me now wherever I am. I should get a ping, and that will allow me then to look and see if that trade is ready to go. So remember, the secret with trading farts is small position, big move. Small position, big move. That is what you want to do here. When you get momentum, you can add. Remember, this thing tends to pump 10 to 20% quite quickly. So you don't need to take a massive risk on this thing, because it can also dump 5 or 10% quickly and rinse you out. So for me, small position, big move, and trying to trade these big hot zones. So 283 for me is the next area to trade some farts here.
I've got 28. I've got the same as you, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, you're waiting for the same. You're waiting for the same shot. Okay, there's actually a few more for you guys. One of them is TON. So let me just show you. I was supposed to talk about TON last night on the show, and guys, I absolutely forgot. So I did drop it on Twitter. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at the Lord of Entry. I'm also dropping tons of alpha there as well for you guys. So I did drop after the show last night, after I forgot. And I also dropped some funny shit as well, but there it is. Okay, so here's our setups from yesterday. Oh, there's that bearish Bitcoin setup there. And look, I did cover you guys there with that ton after the show yesterday, but I just want to show you guys, what we discussed on the Hackers Live Zoom as well was a potential short on this ton. Now, I missed the entry for this guy, but it is pretty bearish at the moment. So we were saying last night, it got its first rejection. We were saying, look for the second pump into that 50-day MA just to clean everyone out. And now this thing is potentially a little bit bearish. Now, we know there is some bullish news on this thing, but I don't know if it's sustainable bullish news. All they've done is allow the founder of Telegram to go to Dubai. Okay, so he's still in trouble, but they pumped this thing 20% because he was allowed to go to Dubai. So if there's going to be continuation on this move, 3.15 is making the most sense to me as your first sort of big bounce area that I would pay attention to. So 3.15 and 2.99, those are the big zones. And you can see this thing is a bit bearish now at the moment, printing bearish blue dot. divergence, all these types of things. So just be careful with this thing up here. If you're trying to long it, it's feeling way more shorty for me. So 3.15, 2.99, that's where it's at for me. Okay, so here it looks like he got his ton entry. Nice. Okay, guys. There were a couple more. We've run out of time, unfortunately. Obviously, lots of things happening in Hackers for you guys. You can just sign up there, come and join us. We didn't even do our giveaway. Quickly, we're going to do a giveaway. Okay, James and 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗃. Yeah, we got to do a giveaway. What is the giveaway, Thurs?
What is the giveaway?
How about that?
Yeah.
First 3 to sign up win a bit funded. How's that?
Okay, first 3 to sign up to Chart Hackers now, today, are going to win a bit funded. What is bit funded? It's prop trading. It's basically trading with other people's money. So they're going to send you a demo account. It's going to be the base account worth $79. They're going to send you the base account. You're going to get 8% first trade, 5% on your next challenge, and then you're going to get real money to trade with. Okay, so we're going to send you that $79 base account from Bitfunded. So sign up for Chart Hackers, the first 3. Okay, what you need to do is sign up for Chart Hackers. Then you're going to mail. James, can you drop that email address here for us? The email address
on the banner now.
Scroll.
Okay, it's on the banner. Guys, read the banner. There it is. Okay, just point down. You can see the banner. It's dylan.giveaways@cryptobanter.com. dylan.giveaways@cryptobanter.com. Mail those guys that you have now signed up to Chart Hackers. Mail them, show them you sign up to Chart Hackers, and then you are going to get a bit funded. Now, if more than 3 sign up, guys, I'll sort you out. I'll just, you can't do 100. Okay, but like if a few of you sign up now in the next, 15, 20 minutes, we're going to sort you out with that bit funded. Okay, cool. Thanks, gents.
Cheers, bro.
Have a good one.
See you now.
Always fun having some indicator stuff. Yeah. Okay. And again, super choppy out there, guys. Again, no FOMO. Play it small. When the time's right, we'll do it right. Okay. So just don't get yourselves in a spin, and save your capital for when things are right for us. Okay. Cool. Catch you guys later.